All right, let's dive in something a little different today.
Okay.
Perfume,
Interesting.
specifically for crossdressers.
Okay.
We're looking at this excerpt from The Power of Perfume and its Role for a Crossdresser.
Okay.
It's by Gender Benson.
Mhm.
It's amazing how this kind of often overlooked aspect of presentation can actually play like a really important role.
Oh, absolutely.
So much to think about.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we think of perfume as this kind of simple everyday thing,
Right.
but it's really deeply tied to our psychology and how we experience the world.
Okay, so before we get into the specifics of cross-dressing, I just wanted to ask you, have you ever, smelled something and then, been instantly transported back to a memory?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Like a childhood vacation or something?
Totally.
Like your grandma's kitchen?
Absolutely. Scent is incredible that way.
Right.
It just bypasses our conscious thought and taps directly into those emotional centers.
Exactly. And that's what's so interesting about this article.
Yeah.
It's arguing that for someone exploring their feminine identity, perfume is more than just smelling nice.
Right.
It can help solidify that identity and project it outward.
For sure. It becomes another tool,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
Think about it. We put so much effort into the visual aspects, like clothing and makeup, but scent just adds this whole other dimension.
Totally.
It creates a more immersive and authentic experience.
So the article breaks down 3 major ways that perfume can impact the cross-dressing experience.
Okay.
The first is reinforcing that sense of feminine identity.
Interesting.
What do you think about that?
Well, it's interesting here how perfume taps into these cultural associations.
Okay.
So certain scents, like florals or fruity notes, have traditionally been marketed towards women.
Right.
And so by wearing these fragrances, a crossdresser can tap into those associations and sort of subtly reinforce their feminine presentation.
It's like sending out a subconscious signal
Exactly.
to yourself and to the people around you. Yeah. But beyond that, the article also talks about perfume boosting confidence.
That's that psychological aspect we were talking about.
Right.
I mean, when you smell good,
Yeah.
you feel good.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
And that confidence can radiate outwards, making you feel more at ease and self-assured.
It's like the final touch that completes the look and makes you feel ready to take on the world.
Right.
But there's also this strategic element to it too, right?
Oh, for sure.
The article talks about creating a signature scent that becomes part of your persona.
I find that idea so intriguing.
Yeah.
It's like, choosing a theme song for your alter ego.
Right.
This signature scent, it adds a layer of intentionality. And it makes your feminine presentation more deliberate and more memorable.
So how do you even go about choosing the right scent for that?
Right.
I feel like there's a million options out there.
Well, thankfully, the article gives us a roadmap.
Okay.
It starts with understanding the major fragrance families.
I know a little bit about them.
Okay,
Yeah,
your
just-
florals,
Your-
your fruity scents, your oriental perfumes.
Yeah.
What was the last one?
Yes, the woody family.
Oh, bright woody, yeah.
And each of these families has its own distinct personality. And they kind of evoke different feelings.
Okay,
So let's take florals, for example.
okay.
They're often considered very romantic, classic, and feminine.
Huh?
Think roses, jasmine, or lilies.
Okay.
They create this very soft and elegant aura.
Okay.
Then you've got your fruity scents, which I imagine are a bit more playful and youthful.
Right.
Think bright citrus notes, juicy berries, or sweet peaches.
Okay.
And they bring a sense of vibrancy and energy to a fragrance.
So what about oriental perfumes?
Ooh.
I've always found those really alluring.
Yeah, they're known for being warm, sensual,
Okay.
and often a bit spicy. They tend to feature notes like vanilla, amber, or musk.
Yeah. And they're fantastic for evening wear or when you want to project maybe a more mysterious and sophisticated image.
Okay, so that leaves us with the woody family.
Yes.
What kind of vibe do those give off?
Think earthy, grounding,
Okay.
and sometimes a bit mysterious. Woody fragrances often feature notes like sandalwood, cedarwood, or patchouli,
Okay.
and they can add a lot of depth and complexity to a perfume.
Okay, so knowing those families is a good starting point,
Right.
but the article goes beyond that
It does.
and talks about choosing a perfume that actually matches the kind of feminine image that you want to create.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Because ultimately, the best perfume is the one that makes you feel most authentically you in your feminine expression.
Right.
And the article gives some great examples
Okay.
of how different perfumes can create different impressions.
I remember it mentioned Chanel No. 5
Uh-huh.
as a classic choice for a sophisticated and timeless image.
Right, a timeless classic.
And then there were scents like Marc Jacobs Daisy, which leaned towards a more youthful and playful vibe.
Exactly. And for someone who wants to project confidence and maybe a little bit of a daring edge,
Okay.
there are scents like Yves Saint Laurent's Black Opium or Tom Ford's Black Orchid.
So many possibilities.
Oh, I know, right.
It's amazing to think of perfume as this tool that can really help you shape your persona.
It is, and it's a process that encourages exploration and discovery.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten into the specifics of application techniques yet.
Oh, we have so much more to talk about.
I know.
So much more ground to cover.
Yeah, we do. As we were talking about all those different fragrance families,
Right.
the images they project,
Uh-huh.
I was thinking about my own perfume collection.
Okay.
It's like a window into different aspects of my personality.
Oh, that's such a great way to put it.
Right.
It's like having this wardrobe of scents,
Yeah.
each one reflecting a different mood or a different persona.
And this article really emphasizes that perfume is more than just a surface level thing. Right.
You know,
It's true.
it can be a tool for exploring and expressing those deeper layers of yourself.
Yeah, and that's especially relevant for crossdressers who are already engaging in this process of transformation and self-discovery.
Right.
Perfume just becomes another layer of that expression, adding depth and nuance to their feminine presentation.
The article actually calls it perfume as a feminine ritual.
I love that.
What do you think about that?
I love that framing. It elevates the act of choosing and applying perfume
Right.
beyond just being a routine step in getting ready. It becomes this mindful moment of self-care and connection with one's femininity.
Yeah, it's like a little ceremony that helps you transition into that feminine headspace.
Precisely. And the article encourages experimentation, which I think is so important.
Okay.
You know, it suggests going to department stores or perfume boutiques and just trying out different scents.
Yeah.
Seeing what resonates with you, what sparks joy.
I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah. It's so easy to get stuck in a rut with perfume,
Totally.
wearing the same scent day in and day out. But there's this whole world of olfactory experiences out there waiting to be discovered.
And the best way to find those hidden gems is to just try things out,
Right.
to let your nose lead the way.
Yeah.
You might be surprised by what you discover.
You know, one thing that stood out to me in the article was the discussion of scent and memory.
Oh, yeah.
It mentioned how certain smells can evoke specific memories or emotions.
Absolutely. It's such a powerful connection.
Yeah.
Our sense of smell is directly linked to the limbic system,
Okay.
which is the part of the brain that processes emotions and memories.
Right.
So it's no wonder that certain scents can trigger such vivid flashbacks.
It's like having a time machine in a bottle.
Right.
And for crossdressers, I imagine this connection could be especially meaningful.
Definitely.
Right.
Imagine finding a perfume
Yeah.
that evokes a happy memory associated with your feminine expression. Maybe it's the scent you wore on your first night out en femme,
Oh, wow.
or the perfume that you were gifted by a close friend who supports your journey.
So every time you wear that scent,
Yeah.
you're transported back to that positive experience.
Exactly, reinforcing those feelings of confidence and joy.
It's like creating your own personal scentscape,
Right.
a fragrant world that reflects your unique journey of self-discovery.
I love it.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the emotional and psychological aspects of perfume,
Right.
but the article also gets into the practicalities
It does.
of choosing and applying scents.
Yes, and there's a real art to it.
Okay.
It's not just about spritzing randomly.
Right.
The article emphasizes focusing on pulse points.
Okay, what are those?
Those are the areas where your blood flow is closer to the surface of the skin.
Oh, okay, so like your wrists?
Your wrist behind the ears,
Okay,
the base of the neck.
gotcha.
All those warm spots that help to diffuse the scent.
Gotcha.
And it specifically mentions not rubbing your wrists together after applying perfume,
Oh, interesting.
because that can actually break down the scent molecules and make it fade faster.
I've always done that.
It's a common misconception.
Really?
Gentle dabbing is the way to go.
Okay, good to know.
The article also suggests lightly misting perfume on your clothing and hair.
Oh, okay.
Fabrics and hair strands can actually hold on to the scent for longer periods than skin.
I love that it's like creating this subtle aura of fragrance.
Exactly.
It lingers even after you've left the room.
And for an even more lasting effect, you can layer your scent, which means using a scented body lotion or shower gel in the same fragrance family as your perfume.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
It's like creating this symphony of scent where all the notes are working together harmoniously.
It's all about attention to detail, just like with any other aspect of your presentation.
You know, speaking of details, the article also mentions something I hadn't really thought about before.
Okay.
The strength and projection of a perfume.
Ah, yes, that's a crucial factor,
Right.
especially when dressing in public.
Right.
It's about being mindful of those around you
Yeah.
and choosing a scent that's appropriate for the setting.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to wear something super strong to work.
Exactly, or in a crowded space.
Right.
It's about finding that balance between making a statement with your scent,
Uh-huh.
but also being considerate of other people's sensitivities.
So how do you go about finding that sweet spot?
Experimentation is key.
Okay.
Try out different perfumes, see how they project on your skin,
Mm-hmm.
pay attention to how long the scent lasts
Right.
and how far it travels.
Okay.
And if you're ever unsure,
Yeah.
it's always better to err on the side of caution
Right.
and go for a lighter application.
Yeah, that's great advice.
And it reinforces this idea that perfume isn't just about personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
It's also about being aware of the social context
Mm-hmm.
and creating a harmonious sensory environment.
Yeah, well said.
And that, I think, leads us nicely into the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
where we wrap up our exploration of the power of perfume and leave our listener with some food for thought.
I feel like we've gone so deep on perfume.
I know, right?
My senses are tingling.
It's amazing, like, how much there is to unpack.
Yeah, we've gone way beyond just smelling nice. You know,
Right.
we've really uncovered how perfume can be this powerful tool for self-expression,
For sure.
especially for cross-dressers.
Yeah, and it all comes back to those kind of 3 key things we talked about.
Yeah.
You know, reinforcing feminine identity,
Right.
boosting confidence,
Mhm.
creating a memorable impression.
It's like the secret weapon,
Right, yeah.
this invisible layer that just enhances everything.
And it's not even just about the external presentation.
Great.
It's how it makes you feel internally.
Yeah, that boost of confidence and that
Yeah.
feeling of transformation.
Like putting on a piece of armor,
Totally.
but one that smells amazing.
I love that. And it really highlights that it needs to be something that resonates with you. So, as a final thought, maybe take a moment to think about a scent that makes you feel confident and empowered and beautiful.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a perfume you already wear. Maybe
Right.
it's a scent from your childhood, something that evokes a positive feeling.
Hold on to that scent, that feeling. Let it remind you of the power of fragrance.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder this fragrant mystery.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.